What's up, everybody? My name is Slim. Today, I'm going to be doing an actual full breakdown of the One Piece spoilers for chapter 1044. Yesterday, we had the brief summary, but today we got more. So I feel like we need to go over this and just kind of dive into what it is. For all the people that watched my videos yesterday, thank you for all the support, the likes, subscribes. It really means everything to me. So thank you for that. And let's just get into this video right now. So the title of this chapter is War of Liberation, chapter 1044. German 66, an emotionless excursion, volume 8. Mom is on an expedition. Research has started. So from that cover, we get Oven. He's actually left the prisoner's book in a different room with his brothers and sisters Prim, Kaido, Brownie, and Anana. And the book is actually on the pages of Niji and Yanji. And so then Oven says goodbye to his brothers and sisters, and they prepare to do investigations on Niji and Yanji's bodies using knives, saws, hammers, and lasers. So pretty much the Big Mom Pirates are trying to do what Queen did, where they take all the scientific powers of the Vinsmoke gang and trying to implement it into their Big Mom Pirates. So they're going to be probing the bodies and trying to see how their actual powers work. So we might get more information on the Vinsmoke gang, their full power ranges, what they can do, and just how they were able to do it and what their bloodline actually looks like. So that should be really interesting. I'm waiting to see where that goes from that. And so the chapter starts out with Luffy talking. Although we cannot see him close up, we can hear him talking, and the sounds of the drums are getting louder. And then we get Luffy is talking out loud. What happened? Why? How am I able to get up if I lost? I suddenly feel so much fun. And then we get Luffy laughing. As Luffy speaks, we see in a distant shot that black lightning is coming out of Luffy's body. So it looks like Luffy's releasing a lot of Conqueror's Haki as his body is transforming into his devil fruit awakening. Zunisha is still with the world government ships in the sea near Wano Kuni. Momonosuke looks at the roof of Onigashima. He's very upset and he even trembles. Momonosuke says, "Joyboy? Do you mean Luffy? Is that what Zunisha said?" said Yamato. In the pleasure hall, we go back to it, and they're at the left brain tower. We see that someone is taking care of Sanji. He is lying on a futon, but then suddenly Sanji gets back up and he senses something, and he looks up. So from there, he says, "Luffy?" And now we cut back to the live floor. We got more of Luffy's allies, and they're also feeling something as well. So we go back to Kid, Law, and Hiragoro. They all look up in the sky towards the top of the dome. And then Kid says, "What?" Hiragoro says, "Ah." And then I'm guessing Law says, "Is that Straw Hat?" So Marco also feels something, and he tells it to Nami and Tama, who are crying as they hug. Marco says, "Straw Hat? Hey, he's still breathing." And then Nami says, "Is Luffy alive?" And then Tama also says, "Is Luffy alive?" And so she starts crying. We then travel now to the Holy Land of Mary Joie, to the Room of Authority in the Pangaea Castle where the Gorousei are meeting. The Gorousei continues to talk about the situation in Wano Kuni. And then one of the Gorousei members says what we've all been thinking. Was it even worth losing a top agent just to anger Kaido? Then the Gorousei with dreadlocks replies that it was worth it, especially considering the future that this situation might lead to. And I'm just excited to see the reaction of the Gorousei when they find out they failed. So then we go back to the Swordsman Gorousei. The Swordsman Gorousei drops a bomb. He says that the world government has been trying every single era to get the Gomu Gomu no Mi fruit, but they've been failing for 800 years. And then we go to the Gorousei with the big beard and the mustache, and he says, it's pretty much like this devil fruit. It just doesn't want us to capture it. It keeps escaping from us. And so I got a theory for this, but I'll wait till the actual full chapter comes out before I go in on this. But it's seeming to me like it has to do with fate, and it might be tied to fate on why the government cannot catch this fruit. So then we go back, the Gorousei with the spot on his head, he says, it is possible since we know that zone fruits have the minds of their own. So it seems that fruits might actually, since they have a mind of their own, maybe a will of their own, and I'll cover that in the review as well, that the fruit actually doesn't want the government to find them. And so that fruit, it has the name of a god. The other name of the Gomu Gomu no Mi fruit is Hito Hito no Mi Mythical Zone Model Nika. So the human fruit Mythical Zone Model Nika. And then as the Gorousei says this, In a magnificent and epic double page, we see the silhouette of Luffy with the full moon in the background. His silhouette is identical to Nika's, without the weapons in his hands, obviously. Although we only see a black silhouette, it's clear that Luffy is laughing. In addition, the sound of the drums continue, and then we get Luffy laughing. So the Gorousei continues speaking. As we see a close-up of the silhouette of Luffy's face, he's still laughing. The Gorousei are just informing us on pretty much how this devil fruit actually works. And so then we get that they say the fruit actually allows his body to have the properties of rubber itself, and then he can fight any way he wishes. And this in turn makes people smile wherever he goes. He is the warrior of liberation, also known as Nika, the sun god. Awakening will give the rubber body even more strength and freedom. It is said that it is the most ridiculous power in the entire world. And I'm pretty sure Oda had touched upon this in some way. He said that he wanted the main character to just have a ridiculous power. So I think this is why he actually has this tied into the story and why he actually put this line in there. And now we cut back to Orochi and Hiyori, the treasure hall floor 2. And this is where Orochi is still trapped under the rubble. Orochi is calling out to Hiyori. Hiyori, please. I appreciated Odin too. I was used by Kaido. Let's run away from here together. Now take the needles off of me, please. So I'm really thinking there's going to be a massive dramatic moment with Hiyori and Orochi right here. So I'm pretty sure I can see it happening right now that Orochi is, calling out to Hiyori, and then Hiyori turns around and looks at Orochi as she's taking off the mask. And from this point, we can kind of tell that Hiyori is getting pretty fed up with Orochi. And so she starts talking to him and just kind of speaking her mind about her father. And she says, my father kept his promise, right? He believed in the promise that you and Kaido made him to free Wano Kuni. During those 5 years, my father made himself look like a fool. Even against his family, my father kept his promise. He believed in a promise to free them all. He even endured 1 hour of burning and boiling oil. He was always laughing, even if the life of an entire country was hijacked. My father endured all that pain alone. So then we see a flashback between Odin and Hiyori, and then Odin says to Hiyori, what's wrong, Hiyori? Father, are you fine with everybody talking bad about you? And then Odin says, yeah, of course I'm fine with it. Why do you ask? That's because I've got you guys by my side. And then Hiyori says, really? Then let's stay together forever. And this is kind of just building up of the tension between Orochi and Hiyori and how much she's actually kept in her mind for the past 20 years and how much she still misses her father. And so then we get Snake Orochi trying to pretend like he actually likes Odin. So then he says to her, oh yes, Odin was such a great samurai. As a shogun, I shall honor your father. And she does the surprised Pikachu look. And then Hiyori takes off her mask and yells in anger at Orochi while she cries tears of pain. My name is Kozuki Hiyori. Be silent, you insolent man. And Orochi is just crying and he's panicking right now. And Hiyori is just putting him on blast. She says, even at times when I was starving and had no clothes on my back, I lived proudly up to my father's name. You're pathetic. You deserve to never be shogun again. The fact that you were a shogun is disgrace. And as the foolishness grew from Orochi, so did the innocent lives perishing in vain. And this moment is honestly like a juxtaposition of what happened to the CP0 agent, how the CP0 agent knew he was dying and he just totally respected the decision that Kaido had to kill him. Orochi is doing the exact opposite. So Orochi is pretty much saying whatever he can to kind of convince Hiyori to save him. So he starts out with, you're not going to do anything to me, right? Revenge isn't even popular in the first place. And even if you kill me, you have no chance of defeating Kaido. At this moment, the remnants of Kazunbo shows up and starts speaking to Orochi. Orochi-sama, I've failed. Orochi's like, please, Kanjuro, can you just save me? You came at the right time. It's time to turn the tables on her. Now, Kanjuro, burn her alive. And then this is when Kanjuro, I'm pretty sure Kanjuro is speaking. He says, what a tragedy. The remains of the Kozuki. Have you seen it? This is the luck of the strongest. And Kazunbo starts to speak to Orochi. And Orochi's like, what are you doing? What the hell are you doing? At this moment, Kazunbo ignores Orochi's words and instead of going for Hiyori, goes for Orochi, who begins to burn violently. Hiyori looks at him and still with tears in her eyes and says, the dawn will come. Stupid Kanjuro, what have you done? Orochi says, Hiyori, help me. And then Hiyori says back, Kozuki House always keeps its promises. So now we cut back to the roof of Onigashima where we see Luffy in a silhouette again. And then Luffy's like, I feel like I can do anything I want right now. My heartbeat sounds so fun. This is the highest peak. This is my gear 5th. And now we go back to the live 4 where at this point Kaido is still at. At this point, Luffy's color of supreme haki is shooting down below to the live floor and hitting people, knocking them unconscious. Kaido's starting to get worried, and he looks up at the roof. He says, "What's up with the roof?" In a huge double spread, we see Luffy grab Kaido and bring him up, and it's pretty easy for Luffy to grab him. His hand gets huge and large, and it just pulls Kaido in his dragon form up to the roof. And then we have Kid saying Straw Hat, looking surprised, and then Chopper is crying for Luffy. And then Luffy pulls Kaido up. Kaido's eyes are popping out like a cartoon, and Luffy is easily able to pull him up. He then increases his muscle mass and starts spinning Kaido in the air. And Kaido's face looks again like a cartoon because Luffy has put Kaido in his world. And in this world, pretty much Luffy can make everybody look like whatever he wants to look like, and so Kaido's starting to look cartoony like Luffy is. Luffy then stops spinning Kaido and starts slamming Kaido back and forth into the ground until Luffy lets go of him. Kaido gets up and has a big cartoon bump on the side of his head, and he has little stars coming around him as well. Luffy just cannot stop laughing. And at this point, Kaido is pretty much emotional because Luffy's actually alive. He says, "Straw Hat, you're actually alive? Thank you." And then Kaido releases a Boro breath, and Luffy is still laughing at this time. So Luffy's lying on the ground laughing nonstop, but when he sees Kaido's Boro breath, he screams surprise. His eyes pop out of his head, just like it says, like the mask, Jim Carrey's The Mask. So we might get some inspiration from The Mask in this actual manga, which is kind of crazy to think about. So Luffy grabs the ground with his hands and stretches it out, causing the ground to turn into rubber. Kaido's Boro breath hits the ground, and Luffy bounces the ground back up and shoots the breath back up at Kaido. It doesn't get destroyed and holds back the attack. Luffy changes back to his muscle form and pulls the piece of ground, causing the Boro breath to bounce back at Kaido. There's a huge explosion. Then we finally see Luffy's full body, and his physical appearance is almost the same as it's always been, although his shirt is now white instead of black. We see the actual color that Oda gives his shirt, and his hair is flamey, just like Sun God Nika's hair, and he has the vapor collar around his neck and his armpits like Gear 4th form. His eyebrows are now curled up, pretty much the same way Luffy's or Sun God Nika's hair is. It says like Sanji's hair, but that's also a thing, or Sanji's eyebrows as well. And so then the pupils of Luffy's eyes have also changed, and they look kind of crazy, honestly. And then Luffy's still laughing nonstop as Kaido stands up. And then this is where Luffy's Gear 5th is fully presented. You got the text title underneath it says Gear 5th, and Luffy's still cracking up laughing. And so Kaido apologizes to him for actually attacking him when the CP0 agent was holding his arm down. He says, "I didn't want to win like that." Luffy looks at Kaido with determination and a smile on his face, and Luffy says, "Don't mention it. Let's end this." And then the chapter ends. So this is going to be one of the craziest chapters that there's ever been in One Piece. I'm so hyped to actually get the full chapter and read it. And so I probably won't have, I'll probably do a review maybe on that day, on Friday when it comes out. Maybe not. I might do it later on, but I'm excited to go over a review and just have my theories on what actually happens for this fight and just Luffy's powers in general. So if you like this video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe. I appreciate all the support that's been given my way. And I got a new video coming out right after this. I made it beforehand, but I just feel like this was more important to post first, so I'm gonna post this first, and then I'll have my video on the theory of how Luffy didn't die, and so that'll be coming next to that. So stay tuned for that. I'll catch you after this one. Peace.